Hello Internet, I'm Zahn, and this is the second part of my tutorials for using the program Rhinoceros, or Rhino, for two-dimensional graphic designs. So, what I have here is a set of additional or miscellaneous tutorials that I'm going to use to act as sort of supplements to the first set of tutorial videos that I put out. Instead of it being one long set of tutorials broken up into 3 parts, I'm going to do some smaller individual videos that are more like quick tips as I sort of thought about what kind of issues people might run into when they're using the program, or other commands that I didn't cover in the set of intro tutorials that people might find useful when trying to do designs in 2 dimensions. And so what I'm doing this time is I'm trying some post commentary or some voiceover narration that's being done after I've already done the capture of the software and me working in the program. And you might notice if you listen to the first 3 parts, you can hear my mouse clicking in the background because I was doing live commentary or recording the sound at the same time I was working in the program. I am working on finding a silent mouse, or one that doesn't make audible clicking noises, so I can do live comm easier. But for these quick videos, I'll try doing post comm and see if I can at least get it synced up to the footage so that it's pretty self-explanatory and you don't get that distracting clicking noise. So first off, let me start with the command for today. So one thing that you might notice if you're filling around the commands, you're creating your curves, and working in Rhino, you might notice that if you try and create surfaces that have other shapes inserted in them, or like you're trying to cut something out, sometimes the software gets confused when you try and render that as a surface or create an actual shape from the 2-dimensional curves. It's difficult for me to duplicate, but in this video I'm going to kind of explain an easy way to get around that if you run into problems with complex shapes within other shapes, and how to make it so that it'll still render with the parts cut out. So if we take a look at the actual footage here, I'm going to start here in my main window, and for the sake of demonstration I'm just going to draw a simple multi-sided set of closed curves, and I'm going to sort of demonstrate what I'm talking about here as far as what you could see when this comes up. So here's the actual shape, and let's say we wanted to have another shape, not identical but just something else inside, cut out so that it's not completely solid, so it has this sort of hole in the middle. So if we select all the curves, we go up to the planar surfaces command, you can see here for this particular one, Rhino renders it just fine. It takes the inner curve and the outer curves and it projects the surface over everything absent the middle section. So it cuts it out just like we would want. What I'm trying to do here is actually finding a way to show what would happen if it didn't do that automatically. So you can see in the shot there, let's just say it didn't render with the cutout surface, so we want to manually cut it out. And so you're going to use the command I'm highlighting here called split. You're going to select the surface, and then you're going to select the curves you want to cut out of the surface, and then when you hit enter, it's going to use that curve as a cutting tool, sort of like trim, and it's going to split it apart, so when we delete it and render it, it's cut the intersection out, and it gives us the same effect that we would have wanted before. And again, this is handy if you're ever working on a bunch of complex surfaces and for some reason the program doesn't want to render it the way you set up. So you can use this split command to separate the surfaces out manually and cut them out. It's very useful. So as a way to sort of demonstrate in real time all these things that I'm explaining through these sort of quick tips, I'll include some additional footage without commentary, just sort of demonstrating a couple different instances where you apply the commands, just so you can get kind of an idea for how to apply it. I'll sort of use my judgment on which commands I think that's useful for. If it's a simple command that just does one thing really in a straightforward manner, then I probably won't include any demo footage. But for this one, I'll include some examples of using the curves and split commands to cut things out of other surfaces. So in the meantime, if you have any questions on this command or anything else I've covered, as usual, feel free to leave me a comment or send me a message, and I will see you next time.